most of you may know Andrew Tate is going on the big uprise at the moment, and not for the better, for the worst, because most of the things that he says is kind of like a bit controversial every now and again, and he's not giving out the best advice. Some of you might think he is, but he's not. Anyway, let's have a look at Andrew Tate Advice for Men compilation.
Living inside of your mind, you're obsessed with how you feel, you don't care about anything outside of yourself, and you're an exceptionally selfish person. That's all they're trying to do, is convince you and teach you to be extremely selfish. Let me tell you something. Depression's not real. Feeling depressed is real.
Yeah, nah, because, depression is real. It is. You know that thing where you're just, in that state of just not being bothered with not a single thing at all, and you're constantly moody all the time? That's depression.
So you can feel depressed, but you feel depressed, and that is a natural biological evolutionary trigger for you to change something in your life. That's your own mind telling you you're unhappy.
Well, yeah, you can feel depressed. Yeah, you can feel depressed. But once you feel depressed, you had that depression for a majority of time. So you can't really say that people don't have or get depression. Once you're depressed, you have depression until you're not depressed.
About X. If I went to jail today, I'd be depressed because I'm in jail. Right. I haven't caught depression. I don't have a disease. I'm just upset with my situation. Yep. I have people message me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, pancake lover. You're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Do you understand? Yeah. No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. If you're in an old haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared, right? He wants an exorcist. He can't sleep. He's scared about ghosts. He's paranoid. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep.
No, not always. Damn hares. I've had dogs in my room all night. I haven't been able to sleep at all. Yeah, I've had zero sleep, more or less. Zero sleep because of loud dogs doing this. Annoying. Honestly, it's the worst noise ever. And that analogy is kind of a bit dumb. It is a bit dumb, because you do have some people that don't believe in ghosts. They'll hear a strange noise. They won't just go, oh, it's just the wind. Because for example, I don't know, let's say a book falls over, yeah? You're not going to go ahead and say, oh yeah, that's just the wind playing tricks on me. Yeah, that's just the wind breaking in and knocking over a book. It's that's dumb, because if I do and I don't, I haven't seen any ghosts. Let's say I don't believe in ghosts, let's say that. And if I were to hear some random noise that I know shouldn't be happening, I'm going to be like, what the hell is that? And then I won't be able to sleep. That kind of doesn't really tie in with depression, that just ties in with anxiety. So this analogy is kind of slipping away from the depression thing. It's more about anxiety, this. It really is.
Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghosts can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed.
That's not entirely true. It's it's like saying you don't believe in sadness and you'll never become sad. That's a dumb saying. If you don't believe in emotions, you don't get them. That's stupid. You know? That's like saying a Dalek doesn't have any emotion, but a Dalek has a set emotion driven. And that's like, greed for taking over the world.
And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that? I'm temporarily immortal. Do you understand? Do you understand? I'm temporarily immortal. And I'm not going to waste my living years believing in things which take power from me. Because I'm not an idiot.
Real men cry, and if women can cry, men can cry too. There's nothing wrong with it. And there absolutely is something wrong with it, and I'll explain to you why. Life as a man is far more difficult than life as a woman. And one of the key components of manhood always has been and always will be, we have the ability to control ourselves and not act emotionally. Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be. Saying that I felt like crying so I cried, this makes me a real man, is as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in.
What? How does saying you have emotions tie in with I want to hit someone in the face? Oh, right, yeah, anger. Yeah, sometimes I'm quite emotionally driven. I am. I'll say that I am. I'll put my hand up. If I see something sad on the TV, I'm gonna cry. I couldn't deal with it when Stein from DC Legends of Tomorrow died. I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't. I cried.
This makes me a real man. No. The hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course they did. But they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man.
Yeah, but also there are some women out there that can control their emotions as well. Yeah, there are. Plus, it's okay for a man to cry. If you're a man, it's okay to cry. It's okay to let your emotions go. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Don't let your emotions control your ability to make a task. But obviously, if it's too severe, like if the emotions are being driven from, I don't know, like a dead dog, or a family member being in an accident, then okay, then take some time to adjust yourself to then get to doing the task again.
Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying.
I have self-control. I do. Sometimes.
Because we're all human. There's times in your life, as a man, you're going to feel like crying. It's going to happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And there is no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry. And you act appropriately as a man should.
Yeah, but it doesn't really bring anything if you're emotionless. It doesn't. Look at Ozymandias, for instance. I mean, I wouldn't know because it was like Yonkers, decades, centuries ago. But he would have been the type of man who was emotionless, who always stood up and was like, yeah, I'm the big man, I'm the big dog, nothing scares me at all, until, whatever happened to him. I'm getting off track.
Men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you.
Rude. Literally everyone cries when they break up. I mean, the only time they won't cry about a breakup is if they were together for like, I don't know, a week or something, or a few days, you know. Then, like, if it's been more than like a month or somewhat, you know, then it's obvious that you're gonna cry. You're gonna let your emotions go, you know, because you've been together for so long, and now you're breaking up. So, you know. However, then again, another point is like, if you have been together for so long, and when you don't cry after breaking up, it's usually because both of you have understood and realised that it's just not working out. You know? Usually when people cry in a relationship, it's mainly because one feels a lot about the other, whereas the other one doesn't really feel as much. You know, and then the one who feels more cries, and the one who feels less gets guilt tripped and then cries as well. Well, not guilt trips, but you know what I mean.
And these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. They look at people like me, and I say, Ross. And that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multi-millionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4 times kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more. He's trying to drag me down to his level so I can be a little crybaby like him. And he wants everyone else who reads his tweets to be a crybaby too, because the more little weaklings he can create, the less bad he'll feel about himself. No man wants to be a little crybaby if they're honest with themselves, and no woman certainly wants to fuck a little crybaby.
I'd rather have emotions rather than be emotionless.
So don't listen to the advice of people who are living lives you wouldn't want to live.
Okay, I don't want to live your life, so I'm not going to take advice from you.
What's actually interesting is, I always use this analogy, if you could build yourself from the ground up, if you could literally just, like from a video game, just tick characteristic boxes and build yourself, nobody would choose to be a liberal soy boy. Nobody would choose to be a small, weak guy who has to cry when he gets upset.
Actually, a man who cries is a lot stronger than a man who hides his emotions. A man who hides his emotions is a lot weaker than the guy who shows his emotions. Because for a guy to show his emotions, it takes a lot more strength and a lot more balls to, rather than to hide your emotions. It's easy to hide your emotions, you know? So it's not really a manly thing to do when you're hiding your emotions. You're hiding yourself away from people. That's not really, you know, that doesn't say that you're a big, strong man. You know, it says that you're embarrassed by yourself. You know, if you're hiding your emotions away from everyone else, you're embarrassed by yourself. Whereas someone who doesn't hide their emotions, it shows that they are strong about themselves. You know, they're not embarrassed by themselves. They're not embarrassed by their emotions. You know, like if you cry, you know, it doesn't mean that you're letting your emotions take over you. You know, you can still have control of your emotions if you cry. You can still have control over your emotions. You know, like for example, you could cry, you know, for a majority. For example, if something bad happens, you can cry for a majority of time. But when the time needs it, you know, you can wipe the tears away and get doing what needs doing.
Everyone, when they get that application form from God saying build yourself for your next life, would tick tall, strong, smart, mentally tough, doesn't cry, gets pussy, rich.
Yeah, but a guy like that literal description there, that's the description of this generation of a-hole. You know, someone who, you know, just goes around getting women. you know, goes around, you know, flashing his money. That's a Jake Paul, and that's a massive douchebag. I'd rather be someone who has emotions and actually cares about something, rather than looking like, well, this, you know?
They take all the things they tell me I'm bad, all the assets I have, everything that I am, they tell me is bad. But if they had the choice to have these things instantly, they would sign up. And the reason they don't have these things is because all of these things come with hard work.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. You know, everyone wants a lot of money. Everyone does. But you gotta work for it. You know? And if I had a lot of money, I wouldn't be splashing it around. You know, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, do that, yeah. You know, I wouldn't be splashing it around, you know? I'd actually, well, I'd try and do something smart with it. Alright, I pretty much watched the entire video, and like the things you have seen is pretty much the only things that I've actually reacted to and stuff. If you want to see more reaction videos like this, then please do something to this video. Do anything. Like, subscribe, or comment. Do anything.